The movie opens with two sisters talking quietly while their mother is talking to the visitors. Holly, the younger sister, questions why the visitors arrive in the absence of their father. She threatens to rat her mother's secret out to their dad. Hazel, the elder sister, panics and rebukes her, asking her to never do something like that as their mother will get angry. She suddenly gets her period for the first time and freaks out over Hazel's first period because growing up isn't awkward enough already, and both the sisters seem to have no knowledge about it. Holly, afraid at the sight of blood, calls out to their mother surprisingly and rather creepily. She begins to sob upon seeing Hazel's bloody underwear. She asks Holly to play a game where she has to close her eyes and count to 100 and then repeat the process. In the meantime, she takes Hazel away with her and locks the bedroom door. After a while of counting, she hears the bedroom door mysteriously open. Her doll is lying on the ground. She picks it up and goes in search of her mother and sister. She goes downstairs. After a bit of searching, she finally finds them. What she sees horrifies her. She lets out a blood-curdling scream. Her mother is yelling at some invisible visitors to leave. She parts the curtains a little and tries to spot her mother. Her mother shows up behind her instead, scaring the wits out of her. The psycho then tries to stab her with a knife, stating that she has no choice. Then her father comes home and immediately tries to pacify his wife. What follows is a gruesome encounter between the couple. The mother attacks and kills Holly's father, bathing herself in his blood in the process. She screams at Holly to not leave as her husband dies on top of Holly. Holly is married to an esoteric artist named Tamasin, aka Tim. The married couple is trying to have a baby. After spending time with her husband, Holly relieves herself in the bathtub because she can't pee in the toilet due to her traumatic past. Later, she takes contraceptive pills that she has hidden behind her childhood doll. The next day, she spots a mother with her child in the department store and has a panic attack. She spots a little mirror stuck in the snow and brings it home. Tim is losing his mind on the creation of the latest cover of his book. He states that when he had written about her, the process of making the cover was natural and easier. He shows her his painting and asks for opinions, to which she declares it is depressing but beautiful. After her husband leaves for work, she spends some time alone dancing around. She begins to touch herself while remembering her husband, quickly gets reminded of her tragic past. She gasps heavily as she stops. Later, they are celebrating their 3rd anniversary with their only 2 friends. Tim reveals that they are planning a baby, and the two congratulate them on the good news. Rich suddenly talks about the trendy cult called Umbrella of Love and Mind, headed by Bruce O'Hara, and his article on it. The cult believes that the apocalypse is happening soon. It's a fusion of Scientology and astral travel. Holly seems to be aware of the cult, as her friend from New York, Valerie, had joined it 2 years ago. Valerie had disappeared without a trace. Their friends informed them that they were in town and invited them to the gathering the next night. They might meet Valerie too, who knows the couple but doesn't think it's a good idea. Suddenly, Holly is grabbed by a little boy, and she struggles to free herself. Needless to say, she's shaken by the sudden encounter that night. Holly cannot seem to fall asleep, so she goes to her husband's desk and checks out his ongoing work, called Apocalyptic Vision. She scrambles around to read his findings. There's a newspaper cutout of a tragic incident from her past. It seems that Tim doesn't know anything about Holly's childhood. Just then she hears a click and goes to trace the origin of the sound. She finds a hand reaching out from the room that's identical to her childhood room and a voice whispering to her that she's Valerie. The scene abruptly shifts to a brighter room. Holly asks Valerie why she has disappeared and never bothered to call. She replies that she had no choice, but now she's here for a bigger reason. She flirtatiously states that she has missed Holly and that the universe has brought them together again. They laugh and enjoy each other's company. Holly suddenly wakes up. It turns out it was just a dream. Or was it? As if on cue, she hears Valerie's voice. She's greeting Tim. She asks about Holly, and her husband replies that she's sleeping. Holly shows up, and the two friends hug for a long time. Valerie says the same thing from her dream. The universe brought them together again. She apologizes for not contacting the two when she left. After being apologetic, her mood instantly shifts when she talks about ULM. She invites the two to join her in the seminar that day. Holly, who noticeably has a weak spot for Valerie, gives in. The three joined the seminar later that night. The couple seems astonished at the ground's grandeur. Tim is so surprised that he asks Valerie who paid for the seminar. It's, of course, the famous Bruce O'Hara. They also find their friends to be way too excited. Rich enthusiastically says to Valerie that he is honored to meet someone from the family. Holly is confused by the conversation, and then we follow Valerie and Holly as they make a quick trip to the washroom, where Holly pees in a public sink. Well, good luck to whoever uses that sink to wash their hands. In the meantime, while Tim slips in a quick smoke break, a man tells him that he's from Morocco and especially arrived there to catch the seminar with his wife. He reveals that his wife will soon be a part of the family and has been dream training for 14 months now without Tim asking further questions. He also adds that some mornings her wife wakes up all wet and stuff is down there, which is extremely crazy. Now's the time for you to leave, mate. It's not too late. The scene shifts to an extremely hot man doing some killer moves. Holly and Val are spying on him through a little slit in the curtain. He notices her, and she quickly drops the curtain. After a while, the seminar begins. Valerie is not with the couple, as the family members are supposed to arrive separately. The entire party is packed, and the excitement is insane. Bruce O'Hara makes an unforgettable entrance, pulling some quirky moves. He's literally worshipped among the masses. He talks about how people are trapped in their memories and dreams, and we are just merely visitors. Holly instantly pays more attention to the mention of the term as it reminds her of her mother. Bruce states that he can surf people's minds and learn their secrets. He had gotten a vessel dream the previous night, which showed him that he would meet a very special woman today. The woman is apparently the soul mate of a new family member. He feels the vibration of the room and approaches Holly. He confirms that she's the special woman and asks her to hold out her hand. He takes off his gloves and touches her suddenly. Holly is transported into her bathroom, where she's staring at the toilet in fear as it overflows with water. She manages to leave the bathroom and is brought back to the present, where everyone begins cheering for Bruce while he bleeds through his nose back at home. Tim and Valerie argue about Bruce. He calls him a con man. While she disagrees, she asks him to explain the change in Holly's demeanor, but he has no answer. Holly joins them and confesses to Tim about not being ready to have a baby. Tim is disappointed and asks why she hasn't been truthful with him. She confirms that after Bruce managed to remove her fear, she's now ready to bear a child again. She also starts arguing with Valerie about her disappearing for years and being jealous that Bruce is treating her differently. She claims that Valerie is also jealous of her family. Valerie calms her down and confesses that she only wants to help her when Holly asks her to, and the three engage in a steamy conversation later that night. She goes to the room downstairs and sits for a while, then a figure shows up and leaves with a clicking noise. She grabs a flashlight and follows it. She reaches a shed. She flashes her light then and sees the bloodied body of her mother. She screams, making Tim and Valerie rush to her. She frantically tells Valerie that she has seen her mother when they go to check, though no one's there. Unfortunately, Holly has lost her amulet that she wears around her neck all the time. It's a safety device for her and resembles the amulet in the painting of a woman from her childhood home. She has an apocalyptic vision. When she reads the last page, it resembles everything that she has done until reaching for the book at the end of the stairs. She drops it and makes her way to find Bruce. She finds a copy of Apocalyptic Vision. When she finds Bruce, advises her to go back to where everything began in her memory. She goes back to her childhood house, and surprisingly, she opens the door to little Holly's room, tying it to the mysterious way her door had opened at the beginning of the movie. Holly goes to search for her mother, and both Holly and Hazel find her psychotic mother trying to kill Hazel. When her mother chases after the young Holly, she spots the older one and tells her to leave, calling her a visitor. As it turns out, Hazel had been alive when Holly heard her. A jostle from behind the curtain, she moves it and stabs Hazel with the umbrella, not noticing that it was her instead of her mother in the present. Holly freaks out and maniacally repeats that she has not killed her sister. Bruce tries to calm her down, but she doesn't stick to a sequence of dreams. She leaves the place, and it seems like Bruce has been trying to draw her in because she's apparently the master visitor. He has a conversation with himself in which it seems like he's possessed by someone else too. She returns home and searches for Tim and Valerie instead. Unfortunately, Tim arrived just then, but Bruce proceeded to finish him off. Tim desperately claims to love Holly, but Bruce denies it. While he struggles to die, many visitors arrive clad in a cloak. Bruce calls them his children. They drag Holly and make her lie down as Valerie begs Bruce to stop everything. She spits at him, saying that she trusted him, but he pays no attention. Instead, he stabs her in the eye and kills her. Holly screams at the brutality, but nothing seems to faze her that much. Bruce declares that she is ready to embrace her new family. Just then, Hazel appears from the toilet, her corpse white in the moonlight. Then comes her mother, with the entire family together. Bruce begins his work as Holly laughs maniacally. Bruce produces a knife and skins her mother. He wears the mask made out of her mother's skin, undresses, and touches her belly, so suddenly she's pregnant, a whole Freudian nightmare. Holly struggles to give birth and after a while finally pushes the baby out. It is a lump of flesh and blood, which he bursts open to find the baby inside. Bruce also carved the flesh out of her mother's back to use as a towel to wrap the baby. Hazel comes to touch her sister with adoration, but when she looks up, it's the woman from the painting with the same amulet as her. After the bizarre events, Bruce and all the visitors bow in front of the new master. Holly takes the baby and goes up to the balcony. Looking down, she finds hundreds of visitors rejoining the new master. A celebratory horn sounds as the sky breaks out, revealing horns. The entire scene is reminiscent of Tim's painting for the cover of his book Apocalyptic Visions.